brilliant. And I just want the people to know, hi. Okay, so we are live on Facebook. So first of all, let me apologize for being 12 minutes late, but it was a tech issue. And because technology is just not letting us be great this week, we are starting a little late. I hope that if you see us live, that you are joining in and that you will be able to, join in on the conversation. Ladies, if you have another device near you and you can access Facebook in this live stream, I recommend that you start a watch party while I'm talking. That way it gives you time to have other people in your communities of practice be able to watch this great conversation. And I hope that we have enough time. And if we go a little bit over, I hope that's okay for you. Thank you for the grace. It's just what it is. This is the world we live in. And I wanted to make sure that we give quality time to a crucial conversation. So, this is Shelly Willis. Thank you for joining me today. You are on my competition page, my Miss Veteran America competition page, and I am a 24-year Army veteran who has been in competition, I would love to say since January, since I signed up for Miss Veteran to compete for Miss Veteran America 2020. And along this journey, I've learned so much, not just about myself, but from the other 24 women who are also in this competition with me. And one of the things that I love to do is I love to meet people and have really crucial conversations, curious conversations. I love to learn a lot of different things. And I also love to spark, just the energy around a topic. And so in this instance, the topic is all about the mission of Final Salute, Inc., whose mission is to provide safe and suitable housing for our homeless women veterans and their children. Also, as a competitor for Miss Veteran America, whoever wins this wonderful crown also becomes the national ambassador for Miss Veteran America and Final Salute, Inc. And our duty would be to be able to create strategic partnerships so that we would be able to leverage and find ways to, really, I guess, make impact for our homeless women veterans and our veteran community. But it would be a great joy to be able to continue being an ambassador and sharing the knowledge that I've learned in this competition journey, finding out that there's an estimated 55,000 homeless women veterans. And with this pro-COVID moment, that number I'm sure has doubled. And that there are many factors that lead to veteran homelessness, to our women veteran homelessness. And one of them definitely is not having access to their veteran benefits, which is why my beautiful friend and comrade, Michelle Love, has joined me today. And also understanding, how do you create strategic partnerships? We have so many veteran service organizations. Final Salute, Inc. is a national organization. They have served and assisted women veterans in over 30 states and territories. But how do we expand the reach? How do we make the national footprint even broader? And being here today with my other sister friend and warrior, Debbie Munn, also to be able to talk about the impact that veteran service organizations have on us, on our military community, and on our communities as a whole. How do we leverage partnerships? How do we create smart and strategic partnerships? How do we align missions to be able to make greater impact? And in this instance, it definitely, even though we are talking about our homeless women veterans, our women veterans, we're talking about our military community as a whole. Crucial Conversations, this platform that I've created in this competition moment, has really all been about leveraging, the whole conversation around difficult topics or crucial topics that we need to be talking about, as well as finding solutions. We don't just want to talk about the problem. We want to find solutions to those problems, find recommendations. And hopefully those of you who are watching this live stream will be able to see that my way of advocating is having these conversations. I believe that they can spread far and wide. This broadcast will also be able to be shared, and we will definitely be able to hopefully tap into your hearts and minds and get you to thinking a little different. So enough about me. Let's let my panelists introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with you, Michelle, and just talk to us a little bit, give us some history about who you are, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, my name is Michelle Love, and thank you for having me today. I'm an Air Force veteran, 10 years as a personnelist. I'm also a military brat. My dad's a retired Air Force senior master sergeant. I joined the military to follow in his footsteps, and now I serve as the Pierce County Veterans Service Officer for Pierce County, where I help veterans and their families keep connected to their military benefits that they deserved and earned through the military service.
Thank you. Okay, Deb.
All right, so I'm Debbie Mond. Joined the Army Reserves in 1990. Did a little recruiting in North Seattle in 1999, and it was one of the, I don't know, most challenging times in my life. And so I said, God, get me out of this job. I'll do anything you want me to do. And He said, I'm going to make you a chaplain's assistant in 2002. And so I became a chaplain's assistant, deployed to Iraq 2007, returned, took off my sergeant first class, picked up second lieutenant, and became a chaplain candidate. And in 2013, I became a chaplain in the Army Reserves.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Look at all of this knowledge and all of this rich history, ladies. You are doing it. And I want to just commend you and thank you so much for joining me on part 2 of my 3-part series of Crucial Conversations. I want to tell you, you know how something's in you and you just need moments where those things can be birthed. And so that's why I'm really excited, because I'm really expressing myself on my interview skills and being interviewed. Of course, I've been doing that for years, but it's really great to be able to talk to individuals such as yourself right here in my own backyard in little old Washington State. To talk about what we're doing right here and how are we assisting our women veteran population to know better and do better. So let's start off with, what was your, this call to do this work? I've been able to talk to each one of you individually. So Deb, talk to us about like the call. What made this work so important for you? If you don't mind sharing some of your story.
Sure. And I'm going to apologize if I cry because, that's what I do. But
Well, guess what? This is a transparent moment. You can cry all you want to. And if your viewers want to join in, yes. The whole point about being able to share your story is the fact that your story isn't just for you. There is someone out there that needs to hear it, and there is someone out there that needs to know that greater is coming. So please be authentic and as transparent as you want to be.
Well, thank you. When I started serving as an Army Reserve chaplain in 2013, I really kind of saw the vision for my life of being a mom of kids from all over the world. And certainly my soldiers were from everywhere, right? They were from Korea, they were from Mexico, they were from Africa. And so these were really the kids that God provided to me. My husband and I haven't had kids of our own. And some of these soldiers, some of them were brand new into the reserve. Some of them were about to ETS and get out. And what I realized is that when they would get out of the military, they would no longer have a chaplain. And then I also realized that they had issues outside of their drill weekend. And they didn't always have a chaplain available near them. And so God started putting this burden on my heart. And so it was April 23rd, 2016. I'm sitting at the VFW in Everett, post 2100, old guard post, sitting in the bar with my husband. They were having their 85th birthday party. And, I say a lot, Michelle's heard this story. I tell people every good ministry begins in a bar. And God and I'm seeing the people attending this birthday party, and in many ways it just reminded me of a church congregation. And that's when God took a hold of my heart and He said, I want you to plant a church for veterans here in this building. And so, at first I just told him, like, you got the wrong person. Like, I'm barely a chaplain and haven't served as a pastor. And God, if no one, comes, I'll be so embarrassed. And He's like, don't you worry about that. So we held our first event the Sunday before Memorial Day in 2016. We called it a Sunday Remembrance Service, and God brought over 50 people to that first event. And
Wow.
so, if you follow what we do, because now it's more than just a couple folks doing this, right? God's brought probably over 20 volunteers. If you're following what we do, now that as of March, even in the midst of COVID, we are progressing and we are growing and we're expanding, and we are now coast to coast because God's the most. So really, really excited for what
Nice.
God is doing.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, Michelle, talk to us a little bit about your journey and how you got here.
Well, for me, it started with my civil service career, or the end of. I was working as with the recruiting squadron on JBLM, and I was having some health issues and wasn't afforded the opportunity to get reasonable accommodation. So what I did, I put in for disability retirement. And so while I was waiting for that retirement to go through, I felt a sense of loss, because not ever having been married and never having children, I based my identity around my job, and so I felt the need to find purpose and find at least a way to give back to my community. So I ended up at the doorstep of the Wild West VFW Post 91 in Tacoma. I just happened to be there. I was sent there by a friend. She needed me to cover for her for a bazaar that they were having there. And while I was there, I met a service officer who signed me up as a life member on the spot, and eventually started teaching me how to become a service officer. And shortly afterward, I was out of the blue offered a job, which I still to this day see as a blessing, because this retirement that I was going through, which was only supposed to take 2 to 3 months, ended up taking about a year. So I was basically unemployed for a year, and the incoming commander, Ted Street, came to me and offered me a job. And I still to this day say that he saved me at that time, because things were getting tight. And as I got into this work, to me, I was a personnelist in the Air Force. And so to me, it's the same job, just different forms, but you have the opportunity to change so many people's lives. I met a lot of women who were homeless, who came to our office for assistance, and was told later on, after I was able to get their claim processed and they were able to get their percentages in, that, they were now able to live and not have to worry about where their next meal was coming from, or if they were going to be evicted because they didn't have an income. So this is more than just a job for me. It's a passion, and I love what I do.
So I'm so great that thank you so much for sharing, both of you. Thank you so much. So let's segue, and remember, this is it's a crucial conversation, but we're also just on the couch having a good time, but we're also reflecting, and we're really being thoughtful about what we're sharing. You said something, both of you, but you said something, Michelle, very that's really, I want to segue the conversation into, how you connected with women veterans who were homeless or are on the brink of homelessness. So both of you being, working in veteran service organizations, knowing how to work with and get veteran benefits claims started. The research shows that there's between 82 and 87% of women veterans who do not access their VA benefits, right? Medical benefits. And I would even enhance that to say even more so, the numbers are greater, just overall missing out on opportunities of what their veteran benefits can give them. Talk to me, Michelle, about how was that connection? How did those women just walk in? Were you doing some outreach? Because we have found that, it's hard to get women to self-identify, especially if their experience in separating from service wasn't all great, right? So
exactly.
Where were you able to meet them? How did you reach them? And then I'll transfer that over to you, Deb, too, to talk to us a little bit about the same way. How did you connect, meet? What got them to come out and self-identify?
Well, most of the people in the beginning, when I was first started off as a service officer with the Veterans of Foreign Wars, some of the people would be referred over from the Pierce County Veterans Assistance Programs office. They would be coming there for assistance because they're about to be evicted or something. And they are the ones that said, hey, do you realize that you are entitled to benefits? Unfortunately, a lot of women don't consider themselves veterans because they didn't go to combat or whatever. And there's a lot of men, especially in some of these veteran service organizations, that don't consider us as veterans, even though we did serve. So a lot of those people that I met were referrals from the Pierce County Veterans Assistance Programs office. And also, too, I was a recruiter. And so with the VFW, and so I would go out to different events, whether it's the Tacoma RV show or over at Cheney Stadium for a softball game. And we'll just be standing out at the tables and, use a lot of people, they automatically think of men. They look at their ball caps or whatever and say, okay, that's a veteran, let's get him over here. But, with women, we don't necessarily wear, our badges or whatever on our, on ourselves or whatever. So you have to ask if the man comes up, ask a spouse. So did you serve also or whatever, or where did you serve? Ask them, don't assume that they're just dependents or whatever. And then you get into the conversation and, I have to say it's really unfortunate because a lot of the women that I've worked with have been, I will say, survivors of MST.
Wow.
And yes. And so I let them know they don't know that you can actually claim for PTSD for MST. So they come to me because they feel comfortable. There are a lot of male service officers in this career field, but they want to be able to talk to a woman, they'll feel more comfortable and be able to share their experiences so that they can go on, because the process is hard enough as it is. And it's hard to have to relive those experiences. But if you have somebody who has been there, because I am a survivor also, you can relate and it gets them comfortable to say, yes, I will do this for myself and my family.
Wow. And you, Deb?
So I think personally as a woman, it's sometimes hard to connect to the civilian community. First, I don't have kids, right? Most of my kids are in uniform. So sometimes I don't have a lot in common with women who have kids, or women who, work inside the home with the kids. And so I think the other thing that makes us rare is our military service, right? And so it can be even harder to connect with the civilian community, and it's really hard for them to relate. And so I think because I struggle with those things, I know that other women who have served struggle with those things. And so I think that there's more than just two choices, right? I feel like sometimes women in the military who have served in the military, we have two choices. We can either embrace our service and remain disconnected and isolated from the civilian community, or we have to put it in our rearview mirror just to fit in. And so I think that there really is this third option. And Shelley, you're doing this now, right? With these crucial conversations, you're connecting military women, and it's becoming easier for military women to connect with one another, right?
Yes.
So that is the third option. We don't have to feel isolated because we don't fit into the civilian community. We don't have to put our military service in the rearview mirror. We can proudly serve, proudly talk about it like we're doing today. And I think that the more we talk about it and the more we share our own story, the more we are open to connecting with other female veterans. And I know what I see meeting veterans either in the military units I serve or at veteran stand down events, a lot of folks aren't connected to a local church, right? So when they need a wedding, Chaplain Mond, right? I'm there.
You heard it here, Chaplain Mond, right here, right here. You heard it.
That's right. And the other thing that really grieved my heart several years ago, I went to a funeral for my regular job, And it seemed like the minister who conducted the service really didn't know my coworker, really didn't know her family. And I'll tell you, at that moment, I said, I will not go by and have someone I know not have a pastor or a chaplain at the memorial
Mm,
that doesn't know them. And so I really do feel like it doesn't matter what hat I wear. I serve the military community with weddings and memorials and anything else. I might even do a baptism soon, so I'm really excited about that. But a lot of our veterans aren't connected to a church. Now, more specifically for women, I think we've all had these really bumpy roads in our life. And I think a lot of military women have had those bumpy roads, like Michelle was saying. Uh,
mhm.
Survivors of MST, sexual assault, and I think that those of us serving in the military community, we can connect with these women in a very unique, authentic way.
Right.
And more recently, a couple things I'm doing to help women is Welcome Home. You see the pillow behind me is a Celebrate Recovery um, initiative for
Mm.
veterans. And so I hold two open share groups weekly for women. One is for regular women on Tuesday night, and Wednesday night are women from the military community, including spouses. So, um, I think let's create these opportunities, these safe places, like you're doing with Crucial Conversations, to share what they're going through, right? So they don't feel so alone.
I think that that is so key in Pinnacle. 70% of the women veterans that have received services from Final Salute Inc., they're single mothers. So, what have you seen in the demographics when you're assisting the women that you come across? Are you seeing a high percentage of single mothers? Are you seeing women who, one of the things I always identified, instantly noticed quickly was that, because we are protectors, we're protecting our babies, we're protecting ourselves, and there is a road to recovery there includes healing, but when you're trying to take care of your children and you're just trying to keep safe and you're just trying to move forward in life and you're trying to catch a break, what are you all seeing demographically? Are you seeing a lot of single mothers yourselves? What are some things that are coming out for you?
Well, I have seen definitely there's a lot of there are some single I guess mothers that have come through my doors. One more important, I guess, was a lady whose child had Down syndrome. She was like 30 years old, and so she was eligible for housing through the VA, but she could not have her child with her because of his age. So
Mm,
she had to sign over her rights to a friend while she stayed in that house, and so she was separated from her child. There is a lot of housing out here for, especially now in Washington, now that they're coming up with some of these little homes and they have like those,
mm.
the soldiers' homes and stuff where people can go and stay if they are homeless. But when it comes to your children, there isn't anything right now where somebody can bring their child. And I really think that's something that should
And
be
that's the
addressed.
difference, right? You want to be able to go and you should be able to bring your child and you should be in a safe space. And the
Right.
last conversation I had last week with the ladies, we talked about those grant per diem programs and how
Mhm.
they are not uh, the organizations that receive that funding, they are not equipped to take women and children. So,
Right.
and we know we have veteran service organizations who have created transitional home programs, but they're not necessarily all carving out a space where women and children can have a safe
Right.
space to save and not to stay, but to transition back to a suitable and more thriving life.
Right.
You know, what do you have to say for those things? Deb, were you about to say?
Yeah, I really like what she was saying, what Michelle was saying, because I think a lot of the women that I encounter, they're either women who haven't had children or they're women who have had children. And for whatever reason in their story, their children are no longer with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my hope is to connect with these women because, um, you know, as Michelle was saying, sometimes as women, when you don't have kids or you're not living with your kids, your identity is wrapped up in so many other things. And
Yeah.
people don't mean to, but they put judgment on that, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes they're just curious, you know, so they might ask someone, well, why doesn't your child live with you, you know? And someone who's struggling with that identity and feeling like they let themselves down, they let their kids down, you know, when they get asked that question, that can feel like shame. And so I think that's kind of the work I want to do, and what I've been doing with women is,
Mhm.
you know, whatever your story is, let's have you share that in a safe place where you don't feel
Yes.
judged and condemned, and you know, and let's work on what you want your life to look like from here and now, and how can we help you put that life back together, right? I'm
Right.
all about restoration and hope and redemption. And so, you know, even if your kids are grown, let's try to do some amends. Let's try to resolve some of those conflicts, because I think if we've learned anything in 2020, life is short. It can be short, and I think it's important to connect with the people we love the most.
I think that is so powerful what you just said. So, let's kind of take a little turn. So we've identified that there are multiple unique challenges that our women veterans face, and we know that overall the goal is to be able to set our military community members up for success as they transition. This morning, I had a great presentation where I talked to a group of fellows, and I talked to them about the word terminal and how in transition is a lofty word anyway, but the word terminal speaks to death. It speaks to loss,
Mhm.
right? But no one sets us up for success when we're leaving, and how we transition out of the military really impacts what our way forward can be. And sometimes in that case, we're living in a moment where military sexual trauma is top of mind. That is the I Am Vanessa Gillian bill, the act, I Am Vanessa Gillian Act. We're hoping that we know that needs to pass. We know that there's changes that need to be made. Just mentioning military sexual trauma earlier, and how that is a major factor. That is one of the many factors listed that can lead to women veterans homelessness. But also the housing reintegration program, connecting housing to employment. Employment is a way to improve your way of life. These types of different legislative acts and proposals moving us forward. What are some changes that you've seen? I know the Center for Women Veterans is very prevalent, but what are some things that we could talk about that we need to tell our women before they transition, and those out there who are still I say they're still wandering. What can we say to them?
Well, one thing I would say before their transition is to apply for your benefits before you separate.
Mm,
Before you had to wait until you had your DD 214 in hand, but now they've set it up to where you can apply for it at least 6 months in advance through the benefits due to delivery or BDD process. So I would definitely say try to get that done immediately, so that you can have those benefits, hopefully starting as soon as you get out of the military. Also, too, a lot of people don't realize that after they separate, that they're actually entitled to unemployment. And there's a lot of people that come to our office for assistance, and they're asked, "Hey, have you applied for unemployment?" and not even know that is a thing. So know that that is a benefit that's entitled to you that you've been paying into your
yeah.
entire time you've been working. So those are two recommendations that I would say.
And I know I talked this morning about our women, to our women service members this morning, and I told them, go to the VA. Go to the VA. I know everyone's story and experience has not been great. However, when I look at that number of 82% not using our benefits, our health benefits, then I need to walk the talk. And that's when I made the decision almost 3 years ago, to go to the VA. And I've had a great experience. And that's not everyone's story, but we have women's health care. We have the Deborah Sampson Act, right? Sitting in this, it's just passed the Senate Veteran Affairs Committee. So we need to get that passed so that there's access to mental health and healthcare services, making those accessible in a way that there's broader access. So what are your thoughts, Deb, on the journey of making sure that you tap into your resources?
Yeah, absolutely. An old female chaplain that retired many years ago, she gave me the greatest advice. She said, when you're retiring or transitioning, make sure you don't make decisions too quickly. And so I love that Michelle said that these women veterans and all veterans transitioning are, authorized unemployment, because I think you really do need to take some time to decide what you want to do. Most of us who served in the military, we were told 365, for 4 years, what to wear, where to go, right? And so
Yep.
sometimes we need someone to help us determine what we want to do, right? And
Yes.
so, but folks who are comfortable with the word chaplain, right? We have chaplains, and we have people who can help you kind of guide where you want your life to go. And if folks don't like the word chaplain, let's call them a life coach, right? And so we can talk to a life coach, and we can say, for the first time in your life, what do you want to do? What do you want to wear? Where do you want to be? Right? Because I think for years and years, when you're told where you're going to go and what you're going to wear, it's really difficult to now say those decisions are on me. I know, just coming back home from Iraq on leave, I couldn't figure out what to wear. I was overwhelmed just trying to figure out what to wear.
Break down in your closet, Deb. Break down in your closet.
I can't imagine, after years and years of service, trying to figure out, okay, what do I wear to a job interview, or what kind of job do I even want? And so really just having a sponsor or a life coach, pull out of you what you want and then help you set that up.
Yes.
So you're going in the direction that you want to go.
Well,
because again, life is short to be doing
Uh-huh.
something we don't like.
Exactly.
No, I'm glad
It's like finding your purpose and calling, right?
Mhm.
We had a
I'm
question.
glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We have a question. I don't know. So I call her she's my sister. Definitely, if I called her anything else, she'd get me. My twin, Carol, she asked, is that for those who retire as well? Now, I'm thinking it might have been when Michelle was talking about benefits. So Carol, if you're still watching, please let us know what you were referring to when we were in that conversation, because I just saw your comment. So that would be great, because I know Michelle was putting out for unemployment. Yes. So does it apply for unemployment, Michelle? Can you for retirees, when you retire, can you apply for unemployment?
I believe you can, but I will look that up and get
Okay.
right back to you. But one of the things I did want to add, though, as far as, especially with Debbie talking about the life coach, trying to figure out what you want to do, one of the benefits that you are entitled to with the VA is vocational rehabilitation. You might have served, like for me, I might have served, for 10 years as a personnelist, but maybe I want to do something different. Or maybe you used to be a mechanic or something, but you just can't maneuver tools anymore. They will give you aptitude tests in whatever, and we'll find out what are the things you're actually interested in, and that you could actually do. So that's definitely, I want to say, a benefit, and I guess an incentive to try to go ahead and apply for those for VA compensation, because you have to be at least 20%, or if you're unemployed, only 10%, and you can qualify for these benefits.
Yes. Thank you so much. This is it's good information, and it's important, because if you, the goal to be able to know before you go is important, but sometimes when you're talking and you're speaking to individuals, sometimes it doesn't resonate. When I'm speaking to my women veterans, or my service women who are getting ready to separate from service, it doesn't really resonate with them that they're individuals. Going back to your point, Deb, it doesn't really resonate. We don't realize as women, and I say this every time I speak, women, we serve and we suppress at the same time. We're so busy taking care of everybody. And I always I said, when those things start to come back up, I know for a fact the Vanessa Gillian case was a trigger for me. things that you think you've gotten over. There's been conversations going on all around me, things that we believe we can go around and we can tell our stories, right? I remember, Deb, when we had our first conversation and it got really deep, and Michelle, we did too. And I want you to be able to tell your story, but we also have to know and understand that we have to heal also from those stories. But
Right.
what I always, and I also say that the military does processes very well, but healing, that's another journey. And I believe that we have to be able to, in order before we can start going out and, we want to seek assistance or we want to seek help. Depending on your state, you're either getting help or you need assistance. Those are two very different things. We have another question. Carol said for some states, they are saying if you have a degree, the veteran is not eligible for voc rehab. That is true. I was not eligible for voc rehab.
Well, it's funny that you say that, but because I actually managed to get, actually it was a coworker of mine when I was working at Raleigh Point 6, put her in for a vocational rehabilitation, and they paid for a master's degree.
I just didn't
I
get
had two
that.
people.
I just
I had
didn't
two
get
people
it.
do that.
Well, maybe what we need to do is connect folks to the right, to folks that actually know. And Carol said she didn't get it either. I didn't get it. My husband did receive it, but I didn't receive it. It was really weird. But what I found out was it was really because of my career trajectory is why I didn't get it. I was sitting in a director position at the time. And so my trajectory really looked clear and clean, and it didn't look like there was anything else they could do for me. But it was okay. But one thing, I say try it anyway, whether you're denied or not, go after your benefits, right? So let's talk about this. We have about 10 more minutes. I'm gonna say 15 minutes, but let's segue into your community work. Let's talk about veteran service organizations and alignment. So as I said earlier, in that role, whoever wins that crown, the goal is that you create strategic partnerships. You seek sponsorships, those types of things. And we know the resources are lean, right? But when you think about the level of effort it takes to create transitional housing programs, be able to, that are intentional, the programs that Final Salute Inc. has, they incorporate coaching, they incorporate financial education, they incorporate transitioning, teaching our homeless women veterans how to live better and thrive, educating them, giving them budget plans, teaching them how to live on fixed incomes. But the goal is that you're not there forever. You're there to transition in and to thrive out. So the overall goal is great. So how do we do that here locally? What's going on in Washington State that we can talk about, or that you've experienced working with veteran service organizations? How do we find better alignment so that we can thrive and align our resources, especially in this pro-COVID moment, because it's not going away. So there is no post, it's a pro. We got to embrace it. Either one of y'all, either one. Deb, let's start with you.
Okay, so behind me, you see the three letters, WON, and that's our Veterans for Worship mission. Those are our lanes. So like I said, we started with the Sunday Remembrance service. I consider that one of our worship moments. The O is for outreach, right? So when we were a baby VSO, we're still only like 4 years old. But I really appreciated the folks like the Seattle Stand Down folks, Rebecca Mert and Sean Durnan, the Resource Fair. Yes, just spent Saturday with her last weekend. But all of these wonderful people, you guys just opened your arms to us. From our vantage point, it didn't seem like there was really a chaplain presence in the veteran community. And to have all of you just kind of really open up your arms to what God was calling us to do to connect with veterans, it was amazing. And so that's where we really reached that last letter, the N for networking, right? Because we don't, you said earlier, we don't want to replicate something that's already out there. Right. I'm a chaplain. I'm not good medically. Right. No one wants a shot from me. I don't know anything about housing. Right. And I'm not as smart as Michelle when it comes to claims. Right. I will, if you need a claim, I will direct you to Michelle and then I will pray over you, right? And so
That's
I
how we
know
do
my
it.
way.
That is how we do it, right? We leverage our networks. I am I am a connector and a convener. So for me,
Yeah.
that's not an issue. I need to know what you need, and then I'm gonna go through my mental Rolodex and my vast network, and I'm gonna say, "Ooh, I know who can help you." But I'm not just gonna have one of anything. I have more than one of anything. But I like to be really methodical and strategic about how I connect you in my network. But that's the truth. I was like, work with your strengths. This is your strength. Yes.
Yes. And I think too, that also helps what you do to be sustainable,
Mhm.
because I think all of us, having served in the military, we will just push ourselves into the ground to help someone. And that's not always good for them. And it's certainly not good for us. And so, really, just networking with other people and finding out what those resources are so you don't feel like you have to recreate the wheel and you don't feel like you have to be everything to everyone, right?
That's true.
Um, yeah, so I tell our folks, we provide something that maybe no other group provides, and let's stay in that lane, and
Mm.
let's refer them out. And so I love all of the partnerships and relationships we built. First, it was the VFW, quite honestly. Like, God's like, don't tell the VFW you're planting a church in the basement. I said, okay, I won't. Um, and so certainly now we're branching out to different churches in the area as well. But yeah, I just we would not be where we are today without many
Amazing.
folks like the VFW
Yes.
and now the American Legion Post 204. And I just love them all. I just can't believe I have this new military family, and it includes all of you.
And yeah, and doing such rich work. We have a question. Carol asked, "Do you all support job fairs? In what way, Carol? Just let me know." And then just I know we're all out at job fairs. I know we all have we play a role in the resource area of job fairs. Usually, most career fairs, job fairs have two sides. They have the hiring aspect where the employers are, and the resource side. Also, want to shout out to Nine Line. So we also have this. We have the Seattle Stand Down in Seattle, and we have Nine Line. Shout out to Sean Dorman out here in Tacoma, and they had to find a different way. We had to pivot, right? Resources are lean, but help is not. Assistance and not is not. Information, flyers, and resources. So yes, and so what Michelle, if you could make sure you let us know about how people can reach you. Same Debbie, just how we can do that. Yeah, definitely. So Michelle, let's talk about it. How have you been able to leverage or partner as a veteran service organization or with other veteran service organizations?
A lot of my networking was done while I was with the VFW. I'm still new in this space as the Pierce County Veteran Service Officer. Just started in June of this year, but a lot of that was going out to job fairs. They had job fairs over at the AMVETS on JBLM over, I think it's at the American Lake Conference Center over
Yep.
there. And they used to have a big one every year over at Cheney Stadium.
That
And
was
we were always
mine.
there. Yes,
That
we
was
were
the one I
there.
put on every year. Yeah,
Yes,
we did it for 4 years. I want to say we did it for 4 years. Boots to Work, Military Career Fair.
yes.
It was my first big project. Yes.
Yeah, now honestly, that was, I mean, I looked forward to that one every single year. And not just because we got a lot of, let's say, recruits from it, but I got a lot of people that came in that were able to apply for their benefits. So I thought that was great. And not only was I able to interact with the veterans that came in, but with the other organizations. I know we all have the same mission, and that's to help our veterans and their family members. So it's a kind of tap into that. So like right now, I'm working with the View out in University Place.
Yes.
And so there's veterans out there. A lot of them never filed a claim. Never.
None of them? A lot of them have.
There are some of them that have never ever filed a claim. So right now, I think I've taken on at least, I want to say about 10 clients over there right now, helping them get connected to their VA benefits, or at least get an increase on what they have right now.
And Damon Hunt's doing a great job out there. I want to shout out to him
really
and
is.
Veronica for what they're doing in their partnership with Nine Line. I really want to give them a shout out because there is a lot of work to be done there. And the need is so great. And we've been out there as well touring the veteran homes.
Yes. Another place that we did connections is actually with like TAPS, or I believe is it ACAP in the Army? We will go out there.
It's TAPS now.
TAPS. Oh, TAPS now. Okay, they took the Air Force name. Okay, so they used to have a big, they used to meet over at Pierce College, and they would have a big fair. I don't know how they're going to do it now, but it's definitely, we need to continue it, even if it's just in a virtual space somehow. But we used to go out there and let them know these are the benefits that you're entitled to, and how to navigate certain things that they need to do
it's
after they get out.
SFL TAP, and Carol is over here firing up in the chat. She's talking about what she is. They are hosting a drive-through job fair in October, so she's soliciting information and leads and quality things to put in the bag. So if either one of you ladies would like to send that information, we can definitely get it sent out. Is a way to push your information out to other states. Even though you're here, you never know what can come of it. And that's the goal, right? When we're serving in our own backyards, but we also can create a national footprint through those strategic partnerships. And so you never know, Deb, you might could see yourself somewhere else hosting, and starting another chapter, for Veterans for Worship, and Michelle, I know veteran service officers are all over the world. So you might know someone that you could connect her to as well. So Carol, make sure you put where you're located. I know, but put it in the chat. So that way Michelle can connect you to someone if you need someone else, if you need to know anything else. Final Salute Inc. Has a website, Carol. You can go on there and pull their information as well. And they are a national organization who definitely will assist our homeless women veteran population quickly. So I wanted to take this time to find a way to just kind of wrap up. And so I want to make sure that we give you all a time to kind of close out. We've had a really thoughtful conversation, I feel, around just different experiences and ways that we can partner in I guess richer ways that we can partner with our veteran service organizations, with one another, how we can continue to do outreach to our women veteran community, and how we can also give voice to those transitioning out. So any last words? We'll start with you, Deb, then Michelle.
Yeah, I just think if you're a veteran, you're from the military community, and for whatever reason, maybe you're not connected to a church or a faith group, feel free to count me as your chaplain. I've told my soldiers for many years, once I'm your chaplain, I'm always your chaplain, right? And so if you don't have a chaplain in your life, you call me and we can just drink coffee some way through Zoom. We don't have to talk about God. I'm here to encourage you and give you hope. And who knows, maybe you're going to give me some hope and encourage me, right? Because this is what we do. We have our new Veterans for Worship webpage, veteransforworship.net.com. We're on Facebook, and just stay in the fight, right? We're overcomers. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. Be overcomers. We are overcomers. Thank you, Michelle.
Well, I did want to answer one question because I don't like leaving questions unanswered. And that was about the retirees applying for unemployment. And yes, in the state of Washington, as long as you were active duty within the last 18 months, you are eligible to do that. But you have to make sure you apply after you're off of terminal leave. So yes, the retirees can apply. Yes. And so I know there's a lot of people that might not want to do it, say they don't need it, but VA benefits are something that you earn through your service. And so if you are interested in being connected to those benefits, I can be reached over at the Pierce County Veterans Service Assistance Programs office in Tacoma. My number is 253-798-7449. Right now with COVID, we're doing everything virtually, so you don't have to go out and expose yourself, but do it, if not for yourself, for the benefits that you can provide for your spouse and your children. We're here for you.
Do you mind sharing your email with us really quick? And Eve is going to put it on Facebook as well. Do you mind sharing your email, Michelle, and your phone number again?
Okay, great. So
We
my
have your
email address,
Go ahead.
so it's Michelle, Michellel at dva.wa.gov. And the telephone number again is 253-798-7449.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Carol is funny. She's asking for retroactive. No, ma'am. If you don't know, so Carol Buford, no, ma'am. She is my twin. We were twins in drill sergeant school and for life. That's another story for another time, but that is my battle buddy for life. And I really do appreciate all of you who have tuned in today. I'm really getting excited. One, because I feel like I've birthed another thing that was sitting in me, and Crucial Conversations is a platform from which I can advocate from, and I can give others an opportunity to advocate as well. So we're talking about we're having a crucial conversation, but we're also solving problems. We're talking about solutions, and we're always leaving you with something to think about. So if you don't leave here taking anything away from this conversation that we've had today, know and understand, as my sister Jamaica Edwards would say, you matter. You matter more than you know. You matter enough that we have other warriors out here, other sister warriors out here fighting on your behalf, advocating on your behalf, using our voice and unmuting and making sure that we are heard and that we are seen in any way possible, using our networks as avenues of approach to make your lives better so that you thrive. So thank you for joining us today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Michelle, for your time. Next week, my last Crucial Conversation series for this competition will be with your Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs Director, Alfie Alvarado Ramos. We have Miss Lisa Narcisco, we have Miss Sharon Kirkpatrick, and Miss Monique Brown. Each one of those women sit on our Washington State Women Veterans Council, and we will be talking about women in service. So next Friday, there will be a different time slot than the 1 o'clock time slot. I think we're in the morning at 10 o'clock. So we look forward to you joining us for part 3 of a 3-part series of Crucial Conversations. My name is Shelly Willis, and I want you to continue to be kind and love one another. All right. Thank you, ladies. Stay on. Thank you, everybody.